What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the 365 podcast. It's your boy Big Rick.
I'm Drew.
And today we have a very special guest. Known this guy for a long time, and we did some events together and things. I'm really honored to have him at the store today, and we're going to get him on this podcast. This is my first podcast with an NFL player, and I couldn't think of a better one to bring on than my good friend Albert Haynesworth. Welcome, brother.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we ain't got a lot of time today. We're doing a signing in the store, and we got a bunch of people in and out. But we want to just kind of bring you on since you're here and kind of dip into a little bit of your story. First of all, how does the South Carolina boy end up at Tennessee, man?
Because I wasn't going to South Carolina.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know you were very highly sought after, and you landed at Tennessee. Now, what was some of the key things that got you to Tennessee?
Well, one, I want to definitely say Coach Fulmer played a big part in it, and also my defensive line coach, Dan Brooks. So, I mean, it just felt like home, and also, sadly who passed away was Mrs. Jackson. They just had a loving feel, and it was genuine, it was real, and even to this day, I still call Coach Fulmer on his birthday and
awesome.
and Father's Day, and also I see him a good bit too.
That's
so
awesome.
Yeah, he's a great man, great influencer. Helped me, guide me to the right direction. So if I had to do it again, I would go back and do it again.
Yeah, that's awesome. So my buddy Drew over here, he runs a platform called Vols Dog podcast. Is like a kind of I don't know if it's a podcast yet, but he kind of runs that page and things, and he hears and talks to a lot of different Vols players, and it really, to hear him talk about it, really feels like it is a family. And I think that's one of the key things, that even after you're gone, you come back, you always see the alum at all the games and stuff like that. And I think they do a real good job of remembering those guys that got them to where they're at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely back in the day, coming back to the Vols and seeing them play on say my off week or something like that, and just being able to call anytime to call Coach Fulmer, or if it's too late at night, is Miss Fulmer. She's going to pick up and wake up Coach Fulmer.
That's awesome.
And tell him that I need him or something.
That's awesome, man.
So yeah, it was definitely definitely a family atmosphere that he created, and I truly appreciate him for that.
In your recruiting class, who was some of the other ones that big-time players committed in your recruiting class at Tennessee?
We had, we had Taria Smalls from South Carolina. We had Eddie Moore from not Chattanooga, but in Tennessee. We had Troy Fleming from Nashville at BGA. I'll try to think, who else do we have in our class?
Don Henderson, right? Or is he not in your class?
No, he wasn't in my class.
Good God, but both of you guys there? That's insane.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. We had a few more. Greg Barnum, but I don't think he stayed long. Oh yeah, Scott Wells. Scott Wells. He played at. He went to the NFL. He played at Green Bay.
Was Witten there when you were there?
Yeah, Jay wasn't in my class though. He's a little bit younger. Yeah, Jason Witten. Yeah. No, Jason Witten used to be a defensive end.
That's crazy.
And the funny thing is, it was funny. I remember, so he was in our room, a defensive end, and I remember they made him tight end. He was ready to transfer. He was ready. He was like, man, I'm not a tight end. I'm a D end.
That's awesome.
I was like, bro, you athletic. You should try it and see what's going on.
I'm a Cowboys fan. Now, he's definitely top 10 Cowboy of all time at tight end.
Well, now he's definitely a future Hall of Famer.
Oh, for sure.
Just from. He swear he was true blood D-end. Now he switched to tight end. He's a Hall of Famer. So.
I feel like he brought a little bit of that to the offensive side. That mentality. He didn't shy away from no contact. He was a bully.
Oh yeah, he loved it. He loved playing defense end.
Speaking of Hall of Fame, we're here. We're at the Vols now, and we go through our career. It's time to get drafted. What was who was calling? Who was? Where could you have landed? Or was it clear cut Tennessee the whole time? Or Was it up in the air where you thought you may go? Like draft night, how was draft night? How was some of that process? Was it how it is on TV, or was it a little different?
Well, I didn't go to the draft. I just did it right there in Knoxville. We were renting out a place and had it there, and I didn't know where we were going to go. Me and Dante Stallworth, we had to have fun with each other. I mean, so I remember he called me, and I can't remember what team it was. Like in the draft, had somebody playing like they were the GM, and he had me going, and I'm just like, oh, and then he starts laughing on the phone. I'm just funny. Like, what? No, like
that's not funny, but that's funny.
No, but then like a few picks later, I want to say it had to be like maybe the 12th pick. I think I called him. And had somebody doing the same thing, and then he was just like, oh, we're just laughing and joking about it. But then like boom, like he's like, oh bro, wait, somebody's calling me. So it was the Saints that picked him up at 13. So yeah, awesome. I mean, that's awesome. And then like 2 picks later, I get picked up at 15 on the Titans. So yeah,
crazy. That's awesome, dude.
That was like a good wholesome, not like what Shador had to deal with. Yeah.
So at that moment when you got drafted, I know like that things are. NIL are different. NIL used to be under the table NIL. You know how it used to go. And a player like you walking around, you didn't have to really. I mean, off the record, I understand you didn't really have to hurt for anything in college, right? I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, it's.
I can honestly say, I never got a penny from Tennessee.
That's crazy. And you were the guy like that. That's crazy.
I never got a penny from Tennessee.
I figured that you would have been well taken care of. I mean, honestly.
I mean, I was good. Like, my mom would never let me accept any money or any gifts or anything like that. Yeah.
Nowadays, it's the norm. Like, I was watching the Johnny Manziel episode. He was like, man, I had to, go under the table and hustle for it. He's like, but now with the NIL, I'd probably make $10 million a year. Yeah. But that's crazy, man. I see all the things and I hear all the things. But, so the moment you got drafted, it was time to get to work. You end up at Tennessee. How did that transpire, like time for training camp? Obviously you're here already, so you're in Knoxville, you moved to Nashville, I guess. Mm-hmm. And how did that go as far as like getting ready for your first training camp? When you was football no matter what level it is, or like because you were a dominant player, like, and you're like just nasty out there. Now, did you bring that mindset like I'm just going to dominate the NFL just like I did everything, or how did that work?
It's like a different thing. Like what a lot of people don't understand. At first, like I didn't get to training camp on time. We were still doing a contract negotiations. But once the business was handled, I got there, and really, I mean, it's a different game. So coming from college and going to the pros is completely different, even though you're playing football. One thing I could tell people about like football, everybody thinks like, oh, it's the same game, blah, 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 it's going to be the same. It's like, no, it's like, imagine if you're a doctor. Say you're like just a primary care doctor, right? And then let me ask you to go and do heart surgery. Yeah. or you're a heart surgeon, and then let me go ask you.
It's still surgery, but it's a little different surgery.
Yeah, you can get through it, but you're not like
right,
like technical in it. I mean, like a heart surgeon, is go do a liver transplant. He could do it, but it's different. So that's the same thing in football. So when you go from one team to other, I mean, it's all you got to get back used to it and get to the flow, and then you'll find your way in.
So you settled down, you got right, and then it was up from there. You had your rookie year, and then you gradually just you fell into your own, and then I mean you had the year to where, like I said earlier, I mean midway through the season you were named the midseason MVP at playing defensive tackle. Mm-hmm. So now you're controlling. You got all your cards. You're controlling your next move for your contract, all that good stuff. What made you not want to? Tennessee couldn't match what you were going to get set to get, or you wasn't interested in that? Because I see all the articles, and you can type your name in, and you get portrayed a lot of different ways. So I'm just wondering, like, how did that go? As far as obviously it's a business, you want money talks, and do you think if you would have went a different route in your career, you would have it would have went differently, or do you feel like it just wasn't you obviously you're there to make the money. That's the number one thing, to support your family and set your future. But how could you have, if you could go back, would you go the same route or would you change anything?
Well, I mean, obviously, like I go a different route, but for me, it wasn't really necessarily about the money. Like that was more like my agent with the thing with the Redskins. He was going after that. You know, he woke me up with the deal. Like I'm just like, all right, is that a good deal? And you know, like literally, I asked him, I was like, is that a good deal? He was like, yeah. I was like, well, why like 41? I was like, that's a weird number. Like not like 45 or 42, or something.
Yeah.
You know, I think. He's like, dude, this is like this. And I'm just like, okay. I was like, well, did the Titans call? And he's like, no. He's like, they ain't going to call.
Yeah.
You know, and then, I mean, they never did. So, like, I would love to stay in Tennessee. I went to UT, you know, played with the Titans for 7 years. I would love to finish out my career here and retire and, you know, would have been a Tennessean, but it didn't work that way. But, I mean, I would have gave him I would have waited, but he said, you know, not to wait. You know, I could.
You're loved here, man. Like you're like loved. Yeah. Like people love you here, man. Like this is your you know, like you're up there, man. Like when you know, I know they unloaded you and Curse. They had a lot of different pieces there that were all there together. That was amazing. And you know, it's a business. We understand it's a business, but like I would have just loved to seen how your career unfolded. Though, if it would have worked out, you come back into that same situation again. Man, I just think it would have been unreal. Probably what would have happened. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think we would have. I mean, look, we had almost the same team in 2008. You know, and then like CJ really came into his own like his second year. And, you know, had us 2,000 yards. It was like no reason we probably would have been, you know, in the Super Bowl.
No, I understand.
So,
now, I heard you say your agent woke you up with a deal. I feel like I've heard quite a few players say their agent just made a deal. Like they didn't really give you all a choice. They just made the deal for you. And
it's not like they don't give a choice, but they go and like, hey, I got this deal for you, you know? And, you know, like, I'm like, okay. You know, I wanted to stay here. Or if I didn't stay here, I wanted to go to a bigger market team because I felt like what we did here with the Titans didn't get a lot of pub like every other place. Yeah. Like you would watch like your Cowgirls and all that stuff.
That's an ongoing thing though. Tennessee's market is small. Like Henry, like Derek. Think about Derek. Derek Henry's top 10, maybe top 10. You got to say top 10 back ever, and he still don't get the love that he would get if he was if he would have been in a Ravens jersey earlier, bro, he would be like. No,
I don't.
You know what I mean?
No, I don't think so. I think if he was like at the Cowboys, if he was with the Giants, you know, or say Washington, you got to think of like these big market teams.
Yeah, no, for sure.
LA. You know, just like LA, you know, but like being at Tennessee and even being at Baltimore, like these are small market teams. Yeah. Like the Bucks, you know, like I told like everybody's like, oh, you just wanted to take the money. It was like if I wanted to take the money as far as that's what I was about, I would have went to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay offered me $135 million.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know, and $36 million guaranteed. Well, I mean, if you do the math, 41 and 36, they ain't got no state income tax in Florida.
Yeah.
And I got the sun, and I got water and all that.
Life down there.
Yeah. So like, it wasn't about that. I just wanted a bigger market team.
So you feel like the way Nashville's growing, you feel like the market's getting better for them, or you just think it'll stay the same?
It's going to stay the same. I mean, the city is growing, but as far as like the fan base, you got to think like Titans are still a very new team. Yeah. You know, like they're a very new team, so the market's always going to be a small fan base. But and then you look at like money outside of for like endorsement deals and things like that. Very hard. I mean, it's not like a million companies like in New York that's coming. You know, it's like Nashville is kind of becoming, but it's not that market. Yeah.
So when you become at the time the highest paid defensive lineman ever, right?
Well, I was the highest paid non-quarterback ever.
Non-quarterback ever. So you get that deal, and let's talk about life after that point. So you get that. Obviously, you're not new to money. You already had a contract. You get that. Now you're looking at life after football, correct? Like, would you get that money? Like, how do you prepare yourself for life after football, I'm sure everybody's coming at every angle to you about something, right? Like, I mean,
no, you just have more cousins and all that stuff like that. You know.
No, I get it.
It's kind of funny. Like first training camp or the training camp there. Like I was in a locker room and then security guys like, hey, your family is up here, and I was just like, really? Like they didn't even tell me. Like surprised.
Nice.
And it was like 20 say like, yeah, we got them all in the VIP in the front row and all that stuff and training. I'm like, oh, okay, like all right. So then like he's like whenever you're ready to go, I was like, yeah, go out. And man, I don't know any of these people,
wow.
but they all had a last name Haynesworth, and they're showing me. I mean, it's literally probably 20.
That's
20
a different
20
set of
people.
Haynesworth family.
Yeah, so they're all like light skinned because my grandmother, she's like very light skinned. So like, but that's her marriage name, not her maiden name was Swinny. So I'm just like. And so he's like looking at me and they're like, hey, like, hey, look, they're showing me their ID. Like, look, it's Haynesworth. Hey, this Haynesworth, look, spell the same, blah, 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 all this, right? I mean, you got like an older grandma lady, Haynesworth, and like all this stuff. So I'm like, oh, yeah, and I take pictures and stuff like that. And then, out there, like I'm walking walking towards practice. And he's like, you didn't know any of those people? I was like, I didn't know any of them. He was just like, are you serious? He was like, yeah. He was like his family. I was just like, I never met him. But he's like, they showed her ID. So I was just like, wow. I had to call my family at home after practice. It's like, hey, do we have any family up here that I need to know about? And but,
so getting into it. So your son, you have a couple sons, right?
I have 3 boys.
You have 3 boys. Mm-hmm. Your oldest is still balling. Is he graduated high school? Right?
Yeah, he'll be 24 on the 20th.
Your middle son.
Yeah, my middle son. He's 18.
Okay.
Well, actually, I'm sorry. He's 19 now. He just turned 19.
Okay, now where's he going to school?
He's kind of like up in the air. He can his thing. He got a.
The basketball player, right?
No, he's a football
player.
Your
oldest was the basketball player.
Yeah. And he's gonna probably go overseas and play.
Okay.
He's really developed, and he's now 6'7".
Now, do you feel like okay? So, you watch videos of you being ranked like one of the most dirtiest players ever played the game. Like you see these crazy things.
Not true.
Yeah, I know, I get it, right? But you see these things. Do you feel like the way that kind of the Deion effect on Shedeur when they slide him, like you think, like say your son's a star athlete, do you feel like that helps or hurts that?
I don't think that has anything to do with it. His deal, and which I'm 100% going with Deion, was he wanted to make sure his son go to the right team. And it's like, hey, he didn't want to be, in a bad situation.
I don't blame him.
And then like it's the same thing like the Mannings did, with like the way he's portrayed it, they like.
Yeah, but the Mannings like a golden family, so they try to make it different when it really isn't different. You know what I mean?
I mean, so like it really, really messed him. But like, you know what? He got drafted, so once you get drafted, it doesn't matter if you're number 1 or Tom Brady, the last pick or something.
Yeah.
Like, hey, it's about you getting on the field and what you're going to do and what you're going to show.
No, I get it. Yeah, like I said, I don't agree with some of those things I see. Like I said, I think you really played the game.
The only thing they can say is just like the Dallas incident.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only thing.
We were at that game.
We were actually
at that game too.
Yeah, like that was the only thing, and I mean, that was a lot of things that led up to that I never really came out publicly and talked about. But yeah, I mean, if you go watch the game, you can kind of tell, and you'll see. And then me and Andre, became friends after. I met him at the Pro Bowl next year, and it's no beef, no nothing. When I was sick and having a kidney transplant, he called me.
That's
so
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, we have no beef, and then like we know when you're playing football at that level, it's a different mentality. It's basically like
a lot of things happen heat of the moment.
Yeah,
I feel like that made you though. How you like come into the game and how you played. I mean, you just played at a level to where it's like we don't like each other and we're not like. I feel like that's the way it should be. I really feel like that's how football should be played though. I feel like between the whistles, I feel like you should be. I mean, a dog. Like if somebody asks about you and somebody says something about you and they're like, man, he was a fucking animal, bro. You know what I mean? That dude was like, he was with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what you want, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want anything else besides that. Like, you want to know, like a defensive tackle, bro. You're facing a double almost every play. And you're not supposed to make the play. You're supposed to set the tone right there. And I feel like, man, at defensive tackle, you were making the plays, though. That's what's crazy.
Well, yeah, it's just setting the tone. And it wasn't, I mean, like I said, everybody wanted to call like the Dallas incident like like, hey, that makes me the dirtiest player. But that's the only dirty play I feel like I've ever done.
They said you used to bang in training camp.
Oh, yeah.
A lot,
too. Fight, yeah.
You got hot, get mad.
Yeah, we're going to like fight because, you're asserting your dominance.
Yeah, facts.
So like, that's what.
But I see the one with is it Zach Filler? But now y'all are like boys, right? Y'all are tight. Yeah, y'all are boys. Yeah. You were gonna bring him one of the things we were gonna do. Yeah. So I see that fight all the time. They replay that one all the time. I see that all the time.
Yeah, but that was against your teammates.
Yeah,
that's
different.
We're getting better at it. There's like tones of like where you're going and stuff. How you're doing. So like that was I don't find that count because like in a game you're never doing that.
No, for sure. No, I get it. Yeah, man. Well, we're gonna wrap it up. Like I said, we just wanted to be able to take the chance to bring you on here. Well, before we do go, what's the future hold for you, or what are you doing now currently, or what is any like maybe broadcasting, anything on TV, anything related to the game still, anything?
No, I try to stay away from like all that. I like to, football was football, and now I'm done with it.
Okay.
Now I'm just kind of being a businessman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome, man. Well, congratulations on everything. In our book, man, you're one of the top to ever play the game. So we appreciate you.
Tennessee.
Yeah,
appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate it.